Divyatman. Today we will be throwing light upon Laya Yoga Sadhana. What is the method of Laya Yoga Sadhana? As we know, Dharana is the intense and perfect concentration of the mind upon some internal center or external object or sounds like anahata sounds or any abstract idea accompanied by a complete abstraction from everything pertaining to the external universe or the world of senses. Dharana is absolutely necessary in Laya Yoga. Sit in Padma or Siddhasana, practice Yoni Mudra by closing the ears through the thumbs. Hear the internal sound through the right ear. The sound which you hear will make you deaf to all the external sounds. Having overcome all obstacles, you will enter the Turiya state within 15 days by the practice of Laya Yoga. In the beginning of your practice, you will hear many loud sounds. They gradually increase in pitch, and after steady practice, they are heard more and more subtle. You should try to distinguish sounds that are more subtle. You may change from concentration from the gross sound to the subtle or from the subtle to the gross sound. But you should not allow your mind to be diverted from these to any other objects. The mind, having at first concentrated itself on any sound, fixes firmly to that and is absorbed in it. The mind, becoming insensible to the external impressions, becomes one with the sound and then becomes rapidly absorbed in Chidakasha. Being indifferent towards all objects, having controlled the patience, you should, by continued practice, concentrate your attention upon the sound which destroys the mind. Having abandoned all thoughts and being freed from all actions, you should always concentrate your attention on the sound, and then your chitta becomes absorbed in it. Just as the bee which is drinking the honey doesn't care for the odor, so also the chitta which is always absorbed in sound doesn't long for sensual objects, as it is bound by the sweet smell of anahata nada and has abandoned its fleeting nature. The serpent chitta, through listening to the nada, is entirely absorbed in it. The chitta becomes unconscious of everything and concentrates itself on the sound. The sound serves the purpose of a sharp goad to control the maddened elephant, chitta. It serves the purpose of a snare for binding the deer, that is chitta. It also serves the purpose of a shore to the ocean waves of chitta. The sound proceeding from pranava, which is Brahman, is of the nature of effulgence. The mind becomes absorbed in it. That is the supreme state of Vishnu. The mind exists so long as there is sound, but on the cessation of it, there is that state termed Turiya. This sound is absorbed in Brahman, and the soundless state is the supreme seat. The mind, which along with the prana has its karmic affinities, destroyed by the constant concentration upon nada, is absorbed in Brahman. There is no doubt of it. Being freed from all the states and all thoughts, the body will appear like a dead body or like a log of wood and doesn't feel heat or cold, joy or sorrow. When the spiritual sight becomes fixed without any object to be seen, when the prana becomes still without any effort, and when the chitta becomes firm without any support, you become Brahman. When manas is destroyed, when virtues and sins are burnt away, you shine as the effulgent, immaculate, eternal, stainless, Suddha Brahman. You become a Mukta now. Now, experiences in Laya Yoga Sadhana we'll discuss. Sit on Padmasana or Siddhasana or Sukhasana. Close the ears with the thumbs. This is Shanmukhi Mudra or the Vaishnavi Mudra or Yoni Mudra. Hear the Anahata sound attentively. Occasionally you can hear the sounds through the left ear also, but practice to hear from the right ear only. Why do we hear distinctly through the right ear only? Because of the Sholar Nadi, that is Pingala, on the right side of the nose. Anahata Chakra, Anahata sound is also called Omkara Dhvani. It is due to the vibration of the prana. Then we have to do a japa of Soham with breath, or japa of any mantra. Practice pranayam for 1 or 2 months. You will hear 10 anahata sounds clearly and enjoy the music of the soul. Abandon all worldly thoughts. Collect the dissipated rays of the mind and concentrate them on the anahata sound. Practice yama, that is self-restraint, and right conduct. Anahata that is heard is of 10 kinds. The first is chini, like the sound of chini. The second is chini chini. The third is the sound of bell. The fourth is that of the sound of conch. The fifth is that of tantri or lute. The sixth is that of the sound of thala, cymbals. The seventh is that of flute. The eighth is that of dheri, a drum. The ninth is that of mridanga, double drum. And the 10th one is that of thunder. You can experience the 10th sound without the first 9 sounds through the initiation of a guru. Gradually, you will have to change your concentration from the gross sound to the subtle. Before you set your feet upon the higher rungs of the ladder of Nada Yoga, you should practice to hear the voice of your inner God in 7 manners. The first is like the nightingale's sweet voice chanting a song of parting to its mate. The second comes as the sound of a silver cymbal of Dhyanish, awakening the twinkling stars. The next is as the plained melodies of the ocean sprite imprisoned in its cell, and this is followed by the melodious note of Veena. The fifth sound of bamboo flute shrills in your ears. It changes next into a trumpet blast. The last vibrates like the dull rumbling of a thunder cloud. The seventh swallows all other sounds. They all die, and then you will be able to hear the subtle music of the inner spirit. You will get knowledge of the hidden things in the 7th. In the latter stages, you will hear Parabhak and develop the divine eye. And lastly, you will attain the Parabrahman. The sound entraps the mind. The sound becomes one with the sound as milk with water. It becomes absorbed in Brahman or the absolute. You cannot have any tangible result in the path of Laya Yoga without purification of the heart. You will have to purify your heart first by untiring selfless service. Kirtan, japa, meditation, cultivation of divine virtues, and thereby eradicating the negative qualities. You will have to equip yourself with the four means, that is sadhana chatushtaya, and practice the Laya Yoga sadhana. Then alone you will attain the seat of eternal bliss and immortality. Hari Om Tat Sat.